Bangkok, a city that never sleeps. It's loud, it's colorful, it's always in motion. It's unpredictable and it is spicy just like Thai food itself. Well, in this video, I will be setting out the facts, the traps, and how to invest smart in the City of Angels. Are you ready? I'm ready. Let's go. So the very first question to address, what are the pros and cons of buying real estate in Bangkok? Like any city, it offers advantages and disadvantages. Let us first address the elephants in the room, which is the disadvantages. Number one is oversupply. Let's face it, Bangkok is a sprawling urban jungle. There are towers everywhere, there are condos everywhere, it's full of high-rise buildings. But this boom in development has been ongoing for many decades now, and the reason for this is simple. Thais have a property ownership culture, and over the recent years, international money has been flowing in with buyers from China, Hong Kong, Singapore coming in. This has made the developers very active and they have been constantly developing. Unfortunately, that has caused a supply imbalance, meaning it has affected rental yields and capital appreciation potential for investors. The second biggest drawback of investing in Bangkok, or more widely in the Thai real estate market, is the restrictions on foreign property ownership. What do I mean by that? Is as a non-Thai, the most straightforward and easiest way to own property is by buying a condo. It's the only property type that can be owned freehold. It is important to know that even condos have a restriction, which is the foreign quota, meaning only 49% of the building's usable area can be owned by foreigners. And this is a bit of a challenge, right? Because you might be thinking, what about land? What about townhouses, villas, shop houses, commercial property, retail? Well, all these asset classes cannot be owned directly by non-Thais, and they do happen to be some of the best performing assets when it comes to real estate. That leaves a lot of potential investment opportunities out of the question for most non-Thai investors. There are obviously legal workarounds. However, they are either administratively very expensive or they sit in the gray area of Thai law and they come with legal risks. We got the downsides out of the way. Let's now focus on the positives. Let us look at the advantages. An investment into Bangkok real estate is an investment into the Thai economy. Because Bangkok, as the capital of the country, accounts for a large proportion of Thailand's GDP. It is an important economic center for the country. So if you're buying into Bangkok, you're effectively buying into the Thai growth story. When you look at the amount of investment going into the capital, there's an enormous amount of money being invested into commercial, residential, and infrastructure projects. When it comes to the massive commercial projects, there's projects like the Bangkok Mall, Dusit Central Park, One Bangkok, which are reshaping the way the residents interact with the city. There is two major airports that are undergoing big upgrades, and these international airports can take residents around the world, across the globe. And there's a lot of money being invested into infrastructure, for example, the extensions and upgrades of the MRT underground and the BTS SkyTrain. And this makes the city a lot more livable, a lot more appealing, a lot more pleasant. And essentially, if you are buying into Bangkok, you're buying into a growth story. The second thing to remember is that Bangkok, when it comes to Southeast Asia, is a lifestyle destination. You can get anything from top shopping destination, world-class dining experiences, leisure hotspots like no other. There's an incredible nightlife, and this quality of life is a huge appeal for both Thai and international foreign residents. The city offers a lifestyle like no other in Southeast Asia, and that is an important selling point. Now, as a potential real estate buyer or investor, the very first question or decision you will need to make is whether you buy primary, direct from a developer, or go into the secondary market and buy a resale property. So what is primary? Primary is essentially developer launches a project or completes a new residence, and as a buyer, you buy from them. The advantage is very simple. One is the deferred payment plan. When a project is not completed, you're only expected to pay 30% upfront and the remaining 70% once the project is completed. That gives you a bit of time to settle your finances to get ready to actually purchase the property. The potential things to be aware of. There is a potential for non-completion if you're buying a new project. There is a potential for building standards not being up to par with the brochures and the sales material. So it's very important to buy from a reputable developer. And obviously, since you're buying off-plan, you can't rent it out to get rental yields immediately. If you're buying resale on the secondary market, this is a very interesting space because you're buying from a reseller, someone that's owned the property for a couple of years. What that does is it means you can potentially get access to properties at very attractive price points because the selling price is up to the seller. Another thing is when you're buying resale is the selection. There's a lot of potential resale options, and that means you can potentially enjoy very attractive rental yields from the get-go. The downside is obviously it is a very big market. There's so much selection, you have to be very careful. And obviously there's the maintenance. After a few years, condos do suffer a bit of wear and tear. So a lot of these condos generally need a bit of maintenance work, a bit of refurbishment, a bit of new furnishings. So that's something to bear in mind. You investors might be wondering, what are the rental yields in the capital? So if you're buying a property, ideally you might want to rent it out and make some rental income. The great thing about the capital is that it has a very transient population of working professionals, whether they are Thais or expats. And this means there's a very active and steady rental market. When you look at the general gross rental yield, you tend to look at anywhere between 2 to 6%, depending on location, depending on the project. Generally speaking, when you look at central Bangkok, when you look at the prime areas where all the leisure activities are, where all the office districts are, you are looking between 2 to 4% gross rental yield. I made sure to stress the gross rental yield part of my presentation because, as you can imagine, there are certain expenses when you own a condo. So what would affect potentially your rental yield? One, any condo owner, all condos will have something called the common area and management fees, often called the CAM fees. This is the fees for the maintenance and upkeep of the services and the common areas and facilities of a condo. This is usually paid once a year as a one-time fee. The second expense is the land and building tax. This is a tax on property ownership of that specific asset. Generally speaking, it is a very marginal rate. Just for your reference, for example, I own a 2-bedroom in central Bangkok and I'm paying only a few thousand baht. I think it was like 2,000-3,000 baht for the land and building tax. The third very common expense that you will most likely incur, especially as a rental investor, is obviously the agency fees. You're most likely going to be using a property agency to rent out your condo, and the standard is very simple in Bangkok. For a 1-year lease, the agency fee is 1 month rent. Finally, one thing to consider as a potential real estate buyer is the taxes on selling. And you might ask, what are those taxes? As a general rule of thumb, you are looking between 6 and 8% of the selling price. This is a rule of thumb because remember, there's a lot of factors that go into calculating those taxes. Generally, it's appraised value, length of ownership, and obviously the selling price. As an investor, it is very important for you to do your own research. A lot of different factors in the capital will affect your returns, and it comes down to what you prioritize. Do you prioritize capital appreciation, the price of the property going up, or rental yield, so the stable rental income you could potentially generate every month? Ultimately, it comes down to you. I would always stress the fact that you, as a buyer, have the responsibility to do your own research. Ideally, you research what is most important to you and what you want to have when it comes to investing. Every investment needs to be considered on a case-by-case basis, and what you buy is as important as where you buy. You might find a residence in prime central Bangkok not such a good investment if it's in the wrong building and you're buying the wrong unit. So what are the things to watch out for? Number one is the developer. There's a few dominant developers that are continuously building in the capital. And these developers each carry their own brand and their own reputation. Generally, some of the more upmarket, most reputable developers are Sansiri, SC Asset, Noble. Generally speaking, projects from these developers retain their value very well. The projects are very well thought out and they are very popular with both locals and international buyers and renters. Number two, you must also remember the layout and the orientation. There's the layout you pick fit the demographics or the target market of that area. For example, if that area is popular with international schools and families, ideally you're buying a 2 or 3 bed, a larger unit, which fits the demographics of that area. Obviously, orientation, if you're by the riverside, you've got riverside views. Certain views are more appealing, attractive and desirable than others. For example, city views of the Mahanakorn, or potentially even views of the park. This really makes a difference when it comes to how well an investment performs. Finally, you have something very important, which is the price point. There is an open culture of negotiations in Bangkok, whether it is with developers or with a reseller. Get in at the right price point. This means if you're buying at the right price point, you are more likely to make money when you resell in the future. If you get in at an attractive price point, it means that you get better rental yields. Some real-life examples, Rhythm Chalungkung Pavilion. We did a video very recently, go check it out. This project has been very successful. When it was launched in 2019, buyers could get in at a price point of 170 to 180,000 baht per square meter. Now the project is completed and ready to move in. Prices have jumped up to around 220 to around 240,000 baht per square meter. And the reason for that is very simple. The facilities are absolutely amazing. It's got great views over the riverside. It is located right next to a top international school, and that has made it very popular with families and professionals. So again, when it comes down to the condo selection, it's not just where you buy, it is what you buy. I often get a question from buyers, is it possible to get financing to purchase property in the capital? And the answer is yes and no. There are financial institutions that offer mortgages and property loans. However, generally speaking, they are incredibly restrictive and not easy to get access to. The main financial institution that offers property loans is the United Overseas Bank, the UOB. They have consistently been providing financing to non-Thai buyers. Generally speaking, however, to get a loan from the UOB, you need to be a resident of Thailand and you need to be getting income locally. Alternatively, they do offer international property loans to residents of countries where they have branches. This generally tends to be their home country branches, which is Singapore and Malaysia. Another financial institution that offers property loans is MBK Finance. However, it is important to note that this financial institution offers generally property loans that are not as competitive. So it doesn't tend to work out for investors. It's usually for home buyers that see themselves living long-term in the Kingdom of Thailand. And finally, the golden question, should you invest in Bangkok real estate? Is it a good investment? I could be a little bit biased because I really believe in the Bangkok story, but let's face it, let's face the truth. Bangkok is chaotic, it's unpredictable, it's constantly changing. In fact, this is what makes it very exciting. I would say no other country in Southeast Asia offers such a strong combination of opportunity, lifestyle, and affordability. If you think about it, you can get all sorts of different cuisine in the capital, from street food to Michelin star restaurants. You have incredible connectivity. There's 2 international airports and you could go to any continent in the world from the capital. There is a strong, stable business environment with multinational companies having their headquarters in the city. There's a growing expat community, there's a lot of digital nomads, there's a strong startup culture. It is a place to do business. It is the economic powerhouse of Thailand. And the final factor, and probably the most important factor, is Bangkok is incredibly safe. It's a city where you can enjoy some of the best nightlife in Southeast Asia. You've got shopping malls, leisure activities. It is incredibly fun and comfortable to live here. For most investors, Bangkok is not just a financial decision. It's not a financial consideration. It is about a quality of life. So is Bangkok a good investment? If you're looking for short-term returns, probably not. However, if you're looking for steady rental returns, if you want to get long-term capital appreciation, and you want to get access to something that is sometimes very hard to buy, quality of life, I think Bangkok is definitely the place to be. And you've reached the end of this investment guide. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please do subscribe to the channel. Please leave any comments you might have. And if you have any questions about the market, do let me know. If you are looking to buy in the City of Angels, my contact details are in the description box. And finally, thank you again for watching another episode of Pierre.listed.